So I've been able to really utilize the lessons that I've learned over my 34 years and apply those to what's going on in my life right now. And I think that's a big, testament to why I'm so peaceful and joyous still in the midst of all this chaos, because everything's going to be fine. Give it 6 months and, the seas will calm down. Everything's going to feel normal again. It's going to be a new normal, but it'll feel good. It'll feel okay. And I'm just not a big one to waste energy on things you can't control.
Hey guys, my name is Katie Enterkin, and I'm on a mission to help humans become the best possible versions of themselves and to unveil what I like to call the beautiful beast that already lives inside us all. And welcome to the podcast about everything and a little bit of nothing. I've had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora, I love big words, a myriad of experiences just being a human and existing. These are real conversations with real people, getting to know each other, sharing stories that make us cry, and occasionally pee our pants with laughter. We talk about all kinds of life stuff: parenthood, business, life goals, fitness, chasing your dreams, and yes, even some animal noises are involved. For more information, keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast Podcast. What up, beasts? Welcome back to the Unveiling the Beast podcast. In this episode, I got to video chat with my home slice, Heather Sarah Nelson, and you guys, we go way back to our tween years. Holy crap. During our conversation, we chit-chatted about what it was like for her to move her entire family to a new state, into a new house, sight unseen, and then shortly after go through a divorce. So Heather's one of the strongest women I know, and I just totally admire her strength and her outlook on the whole situation. If you stick around long enough, you get to hear about some of our childhood shenanigans, including, but not limited to, putting an alligator sandwich into my neighbor's mailbox. Yep, you heard me right. So, I hope something lands with you today. I hope something tugs on your heartstrings, and or I hope you laugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am with Heather Sarah Nelson. No middle name. No, just Heather Nelson.
No, Heather Sarah Nelson is great. It's great.
Okay.
It's formal. It's proper. I'm good with it.
For like a split second, I forgot your middle name. Like a split second. Just like
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Caitlin, Noel, Dio, Parvecchio Entrican.
No Parvecchio.
No more Parvecchio. Parvecchio is gone.
Yeah. Well, when I went to change my social security card, they wouldn't let me drop DO. And I went through this whole thing. I'm like, Mom, is it okay with you if I drop DO? Because blah, 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 blah. I don't want to have so many names. And she's like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So I went through like this whole thing, and then they're like, you can't drop it. Only your last name.
Forever Noel Dio.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So,
it's great.
Yeah.
Heather Sarah Dio Nelson, that could work.
Yeah. Although, what? So, Heather Sarah Nelson,
Yes,
why
ma'am.
didn't you tell my listener who you are?
Well, I'm me.
That's good. That's
Yes.
good. You should stay you, because I love you.
I love you back. Well, I don't know. What do you want to know exactly? There are many facets to Heather Sarah Nelson.
I don't know.
I don't
Like
know.
in general, like, hi, my name's Heather,
Okay.
and
Okay,
I grew
okay.
up in
Okay.
Cali.
I see you, girl. Okay. So I'm Heather Sarah Nelson. I'm 34 years young.
Oh, the audacity.
Ah!
Wait, that wasn't even the right word, but yeah. Oh my goodness, you're 34.
I'm 34. I have 3 kids, all girls, 2 of which
Lord.
are right on that borderline of teen, and I'm going out of my mind. And then the youngest is 5, and she's on the borderline of like shedding that perfect angelic child skin and like coming into her own like sassy pants personality. So it's a lot of fun over here. Always busy, definitely on my toes at all times. Originally from California, recently moved to Tennessee and living the dream.
Hashtag.
Hashtag living the dream.
Yes. So let's talk about why you moved to Tennessee.
So my ex-husband and I moved to Tennessee to just start a new life with the girls. Raising them in California proved pretty difficult for the vision that we had for them. Crime rates are really high. There's not a whole lot of the deeply rooted morals and values that I find really important in raising kids. So I try to, like, for example, teach my kids to say yes, ma'am, and no, sir. And I was fighting a losing battle because nobody else really does that in California. It's not a big thing, so it never really stuck. Different things like that. I wanted them to be able to play out in the yard without having to worry about people I don't know driving by and trying to swoop them up. It's kind of a big deal. So we just kind of stepped out in faith and bought a house in a state we'd never been to before. And we bought this house sight unseen. So it was very exciting. And we put in our offer on this house and sold our house, and it sold really quickly. So it was just such a fast process. Once the ball got rolling, it didn't stop. And now here we are.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, how was that moving to a state you'd never been to, into a house you'd never seen? You didn't even get to do a walkthrough or anything, but you saw nice pictures. I think I remember you posting pictures of it, right?
Yes, I posted the pictures. Okay. Yes, I posted the pictures from the MLS listing on my Facebook page. I obsessed over those pictures forever. I mean, the house hunt actually took about a year. So I spent about a year looking online at all the real estate for sale over the state of Tennessee. And I kept coming back to this house, and, I showed it to him, and, he really liked it too. And it was just a place that we could really have the vision of our kids running in the yard, and which room would be whose. And we just really kind of moved in mentally. So I obsessed over these pictures for a while. And when we put the offer in, I spent the next month, I would Google Earth the house, and I would drive down the roads with the map. I would spend hours online learning the town and the street and the neighborhood. And so I felt like I knew it by the time we got here. But honestly, the whole process for us, I think, was probably the smoothest and most seamless transaction of my adult life. I believe that's because it was completely protected. I mean, I prayed over this situation a lot, and I just knew that was where we were supposed to go. And so, I mean, everything really fell into place. There was a lot of obstacles that seemed to want to hemp us up, but nothing stopped the momentum. So it just kept kind of steamrolling past all the hurdles and breaking down the walls and the barriers, and a way was made. So it was actually really exciting. It left a lot of room to be excited, and just the anticipation of what this new life would look like, and what new things we would learn and experience. And so when we got here, it's so funny. I'll never forget when we got into town, we actually left the kids at the hotel with his dad, and we went down to see the house ourselves for the first time. And we pulled up the driveway, and it was I had already known this house, right? It was just, I was home, right? And so we get out of the car, and we basically walk right past the house, right past the pool, down into the yard, all the way as far down as you can go to the tree line. And I did this like Sound of Music on the hilltops move and like threw my hands up in the air and like just spun around under the big, beautiful sky. It was just such a cool moment, like finally getting there and like achieving it, it was really neat.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that you did all of that all of that visualization first, because I think a lot of people in those situations don't do that. Probably most people in those situations don't do the visualizing, and that's why when they make that big move, they get stuck and they feel like, or they freak out or something happens because they didn't picture it in their mind first. So I think that's really cool that you did that.
I think that's the free spirit in me. There's always been this like free bird inside of me that kind of just enjoys the zest of life and kind of just goes with whatever direction the wind blows. It's a really like exciting thing for me, but I mean, it can also lead to my demise quite frequently because sometimes I'm not quite grounded enough to handle actual real life things. But I mean, having that I don't know, it's almost like a fairy tale, like that just freedom of just that purity of just enjoying and trusting that everything's going to be okay and just go for it. Like, why be afraid?
Yeah.
Why,
Did you ever at some point, like, you said just like that fairy tale of walking into the house and picking which room is yours. Like, I immediately thought of horror movies.
What's hilarious about that, it's so funny that you say that, because chapter 2 of the story is a little more interesting from a different angle. So, not long after we moved in, my parents made the trip out to come and see the house and like check out the area. And they had been toying around with the idea of following us up, right? Like abandoning their lives in California as well. And just, hopes for a better future for all, right? Like make it this big family ordeal. And it was really, yes, girl. So they come up and they want to go house hunting. And naturally I want to go as well. And I mean, I was extremely familiar with all of the listings because like I had said, I'd spent about a year, just constantly stalking the MLS, right? So I was familiar with all these listings. I had seen them all online from my house back in California. And I'm going to tell you something. We looked at so many houses, and I'm going to tell you probably like 60 to 70% of them didn't look anything like the pictures. Nothing. I mean, like like they were just empty for so long, like mold and mildewy smells and like just grossness, right? And it was in those moments where I literally looked up at the sky and said, "Thank you, Jesus," because the house that we bought was exactly what we expected. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
It was a little bit smaller than I had pictured, but I mean, now we've since adapted. I mean, it's fine. The house is great. Like, but after seeing all of those other ones that my parents went to look at, I was like, good grief, this could have gone really bad. I just couldn't imagine pulling up with like our 2 moving vans and all the kids and the dog in the back and like coming into this like flea infested, mildewy, like musty, gross house. Like, I don't know what we would have done.
With a swamp instead of a pool.
Yeah, right. Ew. I don't know what we would have done. But no, like I said, I think the whole thing was protected. And I mean, it was really just meant to be. So we were very blessed in that respect.
That's awesome. Is there any particular reason you chose Tennessee? Or was it just one of those?
So prior to the year of check-in listings across the state, it was a big discussion. First, it started as a dream, right? Like it's those talks you have with your spouse about the things you want to accomplish in your life and the places you want to go. We always talked about wanting to move out of California and, just provide a better life for our kids. So we would toy around with the idea, and, with his traveling job, he was able to give some insight into some of the beautiful places he'd seen. And so we just made a list of all the states that we thought sounded great, essentially. So I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I had a lot of free time to be able to take a look at all the estates on our list and really pick them apart. I was researching things like property values and crime rates, all those kinds of things. So we essentially it went something like this. Colorado is just as expensive as California. Cross that bad boy off. Montana was beautiful. We even took a trip out there to take a look. I've never, ever seen a sky as big as Montana. I mean, it's incredible. But it's freezing cold for way too long. So cross that bad boy off. And so on and so forth. We just kind of pick each state apart, and we were just left with Tennessee. So neither one of us had ever been there before, and we just thought it sounded exciting, and it sounded like a place that we could start a new life, and we just ran with it.
Cool. So now I want to ask one of the hard questions.
Let's go.
Which is, how does the house feel now that you guys are pretty much divorced?
So that's not even a hard question. It's,
okay.
My life is what it is. And that free spirit in me doesn't let little things like that get me down. The house feels like a house. It's the people inside of it that make it a home. And the house is much more peaceful now than it has been in quite some time. I'm really excited about this next chapter of my life. I feel really free. I feel, I think free is just the best word to describe. I think that the situation had become very oppressive and very controlled and very, just uncomfortable and ugly.
I'm guessing it was just all the same stuff as before. The same story over and over.
Are you talking about my marriage?
Yeah, because I it's probably not a surprise to you that I wasn't shocked when you told me about it, because you guys have been trying so long to make it work.
So our story, was never easy. From the very beginning, we were running against the grain, like against the wind. It was always a challenge. It was always work. It was always a struggle. Through the 12 years that we were married, we went through issues with addiction. We went through issues of abuse, mental, emotional, some physical. We had some issues with infidelity, quite a few issues with infidelity. The whole situation really came to a head, and that was just the last straw. That was where I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm actually coming up on a year of the confirmed affair. And it wasn't until this affair came to light that, and actually, no, let me restart. It wasn't until I decided to divorce him because of this affair that all the other infidelity times came to the surface. It was like, I remember being on the fence because I had fought for so long and tried so hard to get through and overcome all of the struggles of our relationship. I had put forth everything that I had into this man, into our relationship, into this family that we had built and this life that we had established, that even after the affair, I asked him point blank, does he want to work this out and heal this, or is this a life that he wants to live? Because if this is a life he wants to live, I'm good with going. I'm fine. Like, let's just part ways. We'll call it a wrap. We'll, pat you on the back. Good game. Like, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But he begged for me not to do that. And I found out later that he'd continued to talk with this girl the entire time that we were supposedly working on things. But, it's all water under the bridge at this point. Like I said, where I sit today, I've never felt more free in my entire life. Like, I don't have to check up on anyone other than my children. I don't have to second guess anybody other than my children. Like,
Yeah.
I can just be free to choose who enters my inner circle and who doesn't get access to my inner circle. I'm not obligated to bend over backwards. I do that for the I feel led to do that for, and the ones that I need to keep at arm's length, I keep at arm's length. So it's been a really great release for me. So that's kind of where that's at.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if you felt some sort of, we use the word release, I was going to say relief, because with me and Alex, or I like to call him Fuckhead, by the time we had separated, even though, clearly we weren't together nearly as long as you guys worked so long, but by the time we actually separated, it was like, I can breathe again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since you've been gone, I can breathe for the first.
That's it. I know. It's so funny because I won't even forget the moment that I changed his picture, his contact photo in my phone to a big red X. And I changed his ringtone to, it's a Kelly Clarkson song. It plays every time he calls me. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Every time he calls me. And I just feel so empowered. I'm just like, yeah, girl, get it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, this has been, there was some mourning. There was definitely a period of mourning. There was definitely a period of just deep sadness. Coming to the realization that my husband would never be the man that I knew he could be, that man with a good heart that's deep down in there somewhere, was so far buried under all of this muck that, it was really just a losing battle. I'm over here trying to encourage him, to be the best he can be. And I was trying to be supportive the best way that I knew how. I'm sure he would have a different story to tell you, but from my perspective, I really gave everything that I had. And it just came down to a day where I just asked God, can I please be released yet? Is it time yet? I can't tell you how many times I asked that over the course of our marriage. And finally I got that answer. Yes, it's okay. And when I sat on the fence for a minute, but once I knew it was time, there was a peace there. So while I was mourning and sad for the broken pieces that were in my wake, I was still peaceful and I was still hopeful, because I knew I was on the right path. I knew that everything was going to be okay. And so far, that's the way it's been. I mean, I'm a strong woman. Okay. I don't.
Yeah, you are. Hell, you are. Hell yeah, you are. I meant to say.
Yeah, I don't just roll over and take it lightly. When life hits me in the face, it might knock me down, but you bet your butt I'm gonna get right back up and hit you back. That's just the way it's gonna be. I'm really hopeful that over time, we will find our balance and be able to just have that baseline of a mutual respect for each other. I will say he loves his children dearly. He's a loving father. He's a caring father. He's just not around. So that presents its own handful of issues for the kids and for him, trying to establish this relationship with them, given all the current events. It's challenging, but I will never, ever, ever badmouth their father in front of my children ever. I'm honest with them. We discuss things like adults in my house. We've always done that. I've had all the hard talks with all of my kids as they have questions in life. I never shy away from any discussion. And I really promote a lot of open communication and honesty. So we've discussed quite a few things, but when it gets to that point where I feel like my emotions might be taking over a little bit, I just tend to pull the reins back and kind of facilitate like a slow shutdown of that conversation, so that I don't make a big mistake. But I will always be there to support him building a stronger relationship with his daughters, because, they need their dad. They need their dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you actually answered what my next question was going to be. I was going to ask how the girls are dealing with it, how they're taking it.
Well, you know how girls are. Okay. 1 minute we're up, 1 minute we're down. Having a house full of that is interesting. Starting with Lucy, the youngest, things don't really feel too different for her. Like I mentioned earlier, he has a traveling job, so he was very rarely home. Through the majority of our marriage, the majority of the older two's lives, but the entire life of Lucy, he's been on the road. So having him not here in the house doesn't feel any different for her. He does call her a lot more now than he ever did when we were together. And I can see that she gets frustrated with all the phone calls. Like, she doesn't want to stop what she's doing every day and talk to her dad. Like, she's like, this is ridiculous. But, he loves her and he misses her. And I really think that it's kind of setting in that none of our lives are ever going to be the same. So he's really reaching out and making that effort to maintain a relationship with her, being our youngest. And so that's fairly normal. The other two are old enough now to have their own opinions and to experience their emotions and kind of be able to dissect those a little bit and come up with their own conclusions as to what they believe is going on. That poses an issue for me sometimes, because they bring up points and make statements that I feel like I should try to defend him a little bit and, against what they're saying, but it's very hard for me because the things that they're saying are true. So it puts me in a predicament of, I have to be very mindful of what I allow to come out of my mouth, because I do not want to badmouth him. But I do let them freely express their thoughts and feelings. And I try to just encourage them to be patient with their father, that he loves them so much and he's really trying. It's going to take some time. Unfortunately, the girls don't know him very well. I mean, they know him, obviously, and they've had time with him. It's not like he's a stranger, but he really has missed out on a good majority of their lives from being on the road. So naturally, after, and they do know, they're fully aware about the affair. So there it is. I mean, they're struggling, with that, but they'll come around. I mean, they'll come around. It's time heals all the things. So we just have to get
all
through
the things.
all the things.
Yeah. Oh, this is some deep crap. I just had this epiphany while you were talking. Maybe not an epiphany, but like I said, last night I talked to Tygan, and we talked about a whole bunch of struggles that she's been through. And listening to her last night and listening to you today, it's like, holy crap, we're grown-ups.
Right.
And just not even just in our age, but just the way we speak now. It's like, whoa. We're in our 30s.
Yeah, life has a funny way of doing that to you, huh? They'll just serve up a big old platter of real life and just, here you go, have at it, you know. But it's cool because, I think back, I reflect on my life a lot, and my story. You were there for almost all of it. I definitely have seen my fair share of struggles. Most were self-inflicted. Some now are not. And, I'm really grateful for the struggles that I did self-inflict, because I learned so many things about the real world, about my character defects, about, just appreciating being alive, right? So as an adult, when people wrong me or things just go wrong, I have these survival tools, right, that are in my pocket now from all this stuff and crap and just ugly that I've already been through. And so I've been able to really utilize the lessons that I've learned over my 34 years and apply those to what's going on in my life right now. And I think that's a big, testament to why I'm so peaceful and joyous still in the midst of all this chaos, because everything's going to be fine. Give it 6 months and, the seas will calm down. Everything's going to feel normal again. It's going to be a new normal, but it'll feel good. It'll feel okay. And I'm just not a big one to waste energy on things you can't control. If you can fix it and you have that desire to jump in there and do something, do it. But if there's nothing you can do, just be still, because there's nothing wrong with just being still. So,
girl. A quote came to my head when you were talking about in 6 months from now, it'll all be calm. Somebody said, after the dam breaks, at some point, the water will stop flowing. So I was like, yeah. It's so true, though. Like,
it is true.
Especially,
so
go ahead.
So just to add some more sprinkles on top of where I'm at right now,
sprinkles.
I recently quit my job. Now, anyone that knows me knows that I loved my job. It was a part of who I was out here in Tennessee. This was like my debut party, right? Was my job. And some stuff went down that I just couldn't shake. I just couldn't, I couldn't digest it. It just wasn't setting well, and it was time to go. And I knew that, and that's what I did. And so here I am in this brand new state. I've been here 2 years. Brand new state. I mean, recently divorced of a 12-year marriage. And I just walked away from the job that I've had for the last 2 years. And so most people would be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to raise my kids? How am I going to provide? How am I going to, oh my God. And I'm just like, okay, it's fine. God's got this. Like, it's cool. What's next? That's where I sit. I'm just like, all right, bring it on. I'm so ready for the next chapter. I am like in a season of purging right now, and I'm enjoying every second of it. So, there's no regrets at this point, right? Like, I make decisions on a daily basis, no matter how big or how small they are. As adults, that's what we do, right? We go through our day, we make a bunch of decisions. And some of them turn around and bite us in the butt. And some of them, really give us this freedom that we didn't realize we needed or wanted or whatever. And you just you got to take responsibility. Like, yeah, I did that. Okay, what's next? Right? And that's where I'm at.
Yep.
So own it. Yeah, exactly. Own it. It is what it is. And that's it.
That seems to be the running theme for the last 4 people that I interviewed. Own it and move on. Like, take responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
I feel it. Are you feeling it?
Yes. Yes.
Ew, remember the alligator chowder?
Oh, God. We still talk about that. Alligator. Can you expound on that for our listener?
For our listener. So I don't know who's listening, and I don't know if you know who I am. Hey, Tigan. But Katie and I go way back. And when I say way back, I mean way back. I think, how old were we when we met? Like 12, 11, 12?
It's like fresh boobs way back. Like fresh.
Like way back. Like purple nail polish, like bangs, way back.
Bangs.
So, I mean, we were inseparable. I mean, best friends from the moment we met. And I mean, this girl and I have been through some things, but I mean, we have some of the best memories from one of Katie's old houses. I mean, we got into a lot of trouble over there. Well, not even trouble, because it really wasn't trouble, but like shenanigans, most definitely. Like, there was the time that we farted into the coffee can, remember, and lit it on fire. And then we tried. I remember Katie pulled her pants down on the driveway and she had to fart. So I lit the lighter and she spread those cheeks and she let it go. And that flame shot 3 feet across the driveway. And then the moment happened where neither one of us was ready or expecting it. But the heat from that fire went back into her butt. And we ran into the house and into her mom's room and just like told her that what we had done. And Katie was like, Mom, it went back in. It sucked back in. And it was just so funny. It was so funny. But there was that one time we found a can of alligator chowder in Mom's cabinet, and we were just enthralled with the fact that anyone would have a can of alligator chowder sitting around. So I
don't even know where she got that.
Who knows? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. But, you know, we did what any normal teenager would do, and we pulled out a mixing bowl and threw some things, and, you know, we made this concoction and decided to turn it into a sandwich and put it in the neighbor's mailbox, naturally.
How did we never get arrested?
I'm telling you, because, I mean, with all the things, like, remember when we defaced public property and, like, made the Blair Witch Wall?
Dude, that was there for so long after we moved out. I think they were afraid to paint over it. It was like
we took like black paint and like put our handprints and footprints all over this wall that was it was outside of a city canal. So I mean, this was definitely city property. And we just like hand printed it up. We were very obsessed with the Blair Witch Project at that point.
Yeah.
In time. But it was kind of spooky, but it was cool. But I guess, yeah, it stayed forever, huh?
Yeah. They left it there for so long, and then when they finally painted over it, I was like, oh, like, tear.
So many memories.
That was so fun. Oh my gosh.
The things we did.
Yeah, not to mention so after she moved to Northern California, she would come down and visit, and we'd go by her old house.
Oh, the lawn gnomes.
Yeah. And so we went by her old house, and they had like lawn gnome decorations, which, you know, whatever is your style, whatever.
Not in my old house, it ain't.
Heather was like, I don't like that. So she proceeded to get out of the vehicle, grab the lawn gnome, and we drove off. And then, there was this tunnel we used to go to hang out and smoke cigarettes with my brother. And it was like this giant tunnel, but then like on the sides were little tiny tunnels, and we put the lawn gnomes inside the little tiny tunnels so that people would like shit their pants when they'd go there and be like, oh my goodness, it's a lawn gnome.
Gnomes are creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, the lawn gnomes in the tunnel, that was good times. We've done so many awesome things. I mean, seriously, like, I had so much fun growing up with you. Like,
oh yeah,
it was just so fun. We did so much crazy stuff.
We did. And I think even though we don't have any new memories, like, those will never die. And I think that just the memories that we have from our childhood will keep us friends forever. And
I mean, forever. I still
ever.
consider you like my best friend. And I know we don't get to see each other hardly ever anymore. I haven't even met Sweet Des, and like, you know, I hate that stuff because life does get in the way. But I mean, you and I feel like are the epitome of like childhood best friends. Like it was the dopest relationship ever. And I don't know if we would have survived adolescence without each other.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. We're like the shining example of that. I don't know if it's a meme, but the thing that says you're friends if you haven't spoken in a long time and you're still, I don't remember how it goes, but
I think everybody knows what you're getting at there.
Yeah. Yeah. You get it?
I got it. I totally get it.
Oh man. Well, I think that we've had an awesome conversation, and I have one last question to ask you.
Okay. Shoot.
If you could give one piece of advice to the world, what would it be?
That's a good question. My answer would be pretty simple. I would just encourage you to trust yourself. There were lots of times over the course of my life where I made decisions based on what I really felt was the right thing to do or was what I really wanted to do. And regardless of the consequences, when I really went with my gut or with my heart, how could you be disappointed in that? There's so much good that comes from just being true to yourself and trusting and believing that you're capable, that you are worthy, that you are smart, that you are strong, that you are all of those empowering things. Just trust yourself. I don't know. I feel like it's probably the most freeing thing that a person, especially a woman, could ever feel, to go with her gut and stand by what she believes in and just trust herself. We are smart. We really are. We're intuitive and just extremely capable of being able to make big decisions. So, booyakasha.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Sarah Nelson signing off. Until next time.